Be happy, happy.
Be happy.
Be happy, Mommy. Be happy, Mommy.
Come on, keep your chin up. Enjoy this time.
Smile.
Smile, smile, my darling.
Honey, you gotta count your blessings.
Welcome to Creative Mamas Unplugged. We are your hosts. I'm Cherice Barton.
And I'm Shelly Hutchinson. Creative Mamas Unplugged is a podcast where we navigate the hell out of being a creative mom with humor and heart.
We will have honest conversations,
Hear wise words from fellow badass mamas.
and share hilarious stories around motherhood for some much-needed comic relief. Listen, motherhood is the most creative, most difficult job in the world. You are not alone, and you deserve to be happy.
So I woke up this morning with, I had this like pins and needles situation in my upper spine. And it's like trickling all down into like my middle spine. And I do that thing where I can't really move my head all the way right and left. So I'm like feeling a lot of pain. And, you know, one would think, because what we do for work, I mean, I'm dancing every single day and I'm on the move all day long. You would think it has something to do with that. I'm trying to recall, I'm like, what did I do? And then I remembered at 2 a.m, I woke up and my 35-pound dog was sleeping on my head. That's it. That's why. That's why I'm in the condition that I'm in, that I might not be able to work fully or operate my body optimally because the dog needed to be in a comfortable place. So that's what I had going on. How was your week?
My week was good. Been killing it, multitasking like a. I'm not gonna swear just in case my mom is listening right now. But yes,
Hi, Mom.
But I do find that, you know, I can only kill it for so long. And if I go like 4 days straight of just, it's literally, and I know every other mom who is working, creating whatever it is, and or juggling multiple projects and or just one project and being a mom. It's kind of like, okay, I'm going to drive, I'm going to meet this meeting, and then I'm going to quickly go take this kid to dance, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to get online and I'm going to work with the costume department on this thing, and then I'm going to go and make the lunches, and then I'm going to do this email to this other person that needs this. And, you know, it's just like, it's nonstop. And every time I have a break from being a mom, I try and squeeze in work or the opposite, right? And I've been killing it. It's been great. And I feel super close to my kids and things are going well. And I'm like, yeah, but I hit this wall. And I think that's, you know, last night, I started feeling like, oh.
When you like feel that you need a break from the kids, do you feel like that is also coupled with like you need to dig in more to your creative work side or your creativity side? Or is it just, I just need some peace and silence around me and doing nothing? I find myself, if there's ever a Saturday where we don't have anything to do, and to be honest, that's really rare, but I will often dig into like doing a bunch of housework and I'll feel like this is an opportunity to do that. And then I will turn around and realize I start to get like feeling kind of funny. And then I realize, because I've been a housekeeper for 7 hours today. And that's not, I wanted to do it, but it hits me that I haven't really done either anything for myself or anything creative. Like maybe I need to do something creative, or do I just need to, you know, have silence and have some quiet and like peace and no stimulation. So curious, because I feel like they sometimes fulfill the same need, your creation station, and then also, you know, sitting by the pool, just being quiet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it goes back to what we've talked about before and identifying those different parts of us and really nurturing them equally. And it's you know, it's hard to do. And sometimes I try to be aware of it, but sometimes even it catches me by surprise. I had a moment the other night where so I'm working with a friend of mine, a creative producer, on an event that's going on down in San Clemente. And I was invited to a meeting at 9:30 p.m. on Zoom. And I had been, you know, again, multitasking all day, but spending a lot of time with the kids. 9:30 p.m. is late, right? It's late. And even the producer said to me, listen, you know, I get it. Like, he knows I have kids. And he was like, but you don't have to come to the meeting. And I was like, I'd really like to be there. I said, I might have to turn off my camera, but I can listen in. And he said, sure. So started getting to around, you know, like 8:30. And I was like, I'm tired. Like I can't, like I've got to make sure the kids go to bed, and I'm feeling I was tired at that point, feeling a little bit like defeated by my day, kind of just, getting to that tired place. But something inside of me was like, no, just show up. It's only an hour. Show up. So I talked to the kids, made sure that they were pretty ready around, that time. And I was like, listen, mommy's got to get on a meeting. They're like, what, at 9:30? And I said, yeah. I said, get yourselves to bed. You can read, you can, whatever you need to do, just be quiet because mommy has to log on. And I logged on onto the meeting, and it was super creative. It was with the costume department. And it was just, I was amazed at how much energy I got and how it transformed me. And I was like, when I hung up from that meeting, I felt so happy. And I thought, I'm so glad that I logged on, because I think that it's important to, as I said, nurture my creativity. If I don't have that in my life, it really affects me. It's such a huge part of who I am. So yeah, and I had been really the past couple of weeks, I've been like full time with the kids. And then after the meeting, I still took time for myself. I took a bath and I went to bed a little too late, but I managed to do it. And I think it was just a reminder that even when I don't feel like it, go to the gym.
I was literally just going to say, it reminds me of like, Brian and I will often have this conversation. He's like, I don't know if I should go to the gym, or like in the summer, I'll say like, I don't know, should I go for a run or something? We always talk about the fact that you never feel, aside from any injuries or anything that's physically keeping you from doing those things, you never feel worse when you do it. You always are thankful at the end that you do it. And it's kind of similar to your phone call and your creative meeting. Like, it wasn't going to probably make you feel worse. It was actually going to make you feel better. It's like half of the battle is just showing up. Half the battle is just getting in your car, getting to the parking lot of the gym, or putting on your running shoes and just walking out the door. That initial step. And then when do you really ever feel worse for doing it?
Yeah. And so I think for everyone, and for everyone, it's different, right? So I know what makes me feel good. And so I have to remind myself, okay, I have to remember this when I'm not feeling great. And even if I don't feel like doing it, we have to kind of pay attention to those times when we do feel invigorated or when we do feel happier, and go, why is it that I'm feeling this way right now? And then continue to put it into practice, just like constantly doing it. But yeah, I also had a kind of a realization lately that similar to that, but I have been working a lot lately on releasing control, kind of surrendering to a place of trust. I have a lot of uncertainty in my life right now, and we all have fear in us. Some people more than others. And depending on what situation you're in your life, fear can cloud us from making the right decisions sometimes. And fear can cloud us from really paying attention to what's beneath the surface. And so I've been working very hard lately to kind of push that away. And I had a moment the other day where I was like feeling a lot of anxiety and a lot of fear. And I purposely took a mental health day. Thankfully, I was able to do that. Well, not a full day because I had picked the kids up at school, but I took the morning off and I did everything in my power, everything I could. I mean, I took a bath, I meditated, I prayed, I went to the gym, I went for a walk. I was like, I don't feel clear about anything. And I feel a lot of anxiety and I feel a lot of fear. And I worked so hard that day to get rid of it. And it didn't really work. Like, even when I went to bed that night, I was still feeling this like pressure in my chest, but I did the work. I did it. And before I went to bed, I like prayed again. I was like, oh my God, please, universe, just like help me gain some clarity. Anyway, I slept that night. And the next morning I woke up and it was just like, I could see color. I could hear the birds. I felt super clear. For whatever reason. Maybe it was the work that I did. Maybe it was just one of those days that I woke up and I felt clear. Who knows? But I felt so good that day. And I made some decisions that were really important to me and felt really good about them. And as soon as I made the decision, I felt like a huge relief. And I talked to a friend of mine and she said, remember that feeling. Just hold on to that feeling. And I really paid attention to that because fear creeps in all the time, right? Anxiety, fear. And our minds are incredible. How our minds can dictate our feelings, and really being self-aware and being able to kind of like separate yourself. And so I heard her words over and over, like whenever I started to feel things come, or anxiety. I would remember her saying, remember that feeling. And I was like, okay, I'm going to return to that. So yeah, that was another sort of lesson that I've learned in the past couple of weeks.
Some good self-talk.
Mm-hmm.
And like good preparation, like even on a day when you're like, I can't get rid of this feeling, but like you're working and like using all of your tools and materials and all these things and you're getting there. It's like you have to be building some sort of like, I hate this word resilience because I feel like it like is an out for like, I don't know. I hate that word. I hate using it when it comes to adults and kids. I feel like it's like some sort of way of just like dismissing what's going on. Like kids are resilient. Yes. But let's deal with it. They're going to feel things, right? We're resilient, but we're going to feel things. But I feel like you were building something so that maybe when those, who knows, maybe it was hormones too, right? Come around and hit you again. Maybe you're a little more armored up in a way to deal or to get yourself out of it or to remember, like you said, to return to that feeling that you had of like clarity. And I don't know, I just almost feel like with our mind, it's almost like, you know, when we prepare our bodies, we eat healthy and we strength training, we do all these things, not just for the day-to-day maintenance, but to prepare ourselves. So when there is an injury, when there is some sort of acute situation going on in our bodies are ready to heal. And I wonder if it's the same thing mentally and thinking about it that way, you know, like you just gave yourself a day of like retreat in a way, even though it may not have you may not have gotten the results that you wanted immediately. It just took a minute. And now you have like this like built up little bit of armor. I don't know. That's how I'm envisioning it.
It's so true. It's so true. It's a daily practice. And the tendency is, I mean, for me, but I think for a lot of people, when we're feeling really good and we're in the flow and things are happening, we don't do that work, right? Mm-hmm. Because you don't need it. But then when you wake up the next day or when something happens that throws you off, you're not, like you said, you're not in good shape. So it's that constant reminders all the time, constant reminders. And, you know, like I said, for me, you know, okay, releasing control. I grew up very scrappy and I learned how to make my way through life. I made a lot of good decisions and I, for many years, took a lot of pride in that. But with that came really hard, like it's really hard for me to release control, and not even in a practical sense, but like wanting to control outcomes or wanting to control other people, how they think about me.
Image management is huge.
Oh yeah. So that's been one that I've been working on lately. And it's been really interesting. That, and also to looking at situations right away when they arise and kind of looking at my part in it. So even with my kids the other day, I got home and I was tired. I was like, again, multitasking. And one of my kids was really just, I asked her to do a chore and she did not want to do that chore. She was on FaceTime with her friend. She gave me a look and she like slammed her, you know, iPad down and she did the chore really mad. And then she like went in her room and slammed the door. And I was like, oh no. And I went in and I got very angry at her. And I was like, you are not going to treat your mom like this. This is not a way to treat your mom. And I was holding on to that anger. And I took the other kid to dance, came back, and I wanted to come back in and be like, and continue the fight in a way. Like, how dare you, you know? But I took a second and I was like, okay, wait, what did I not handle well? What was my part in it? And then, you know what? I had to admit to myself, it's not like it was a daily chore that she knew she had to do. She was on the phone with her friend. I was a little bit cranky. I was looking around, there was a mess. And I sort of just blurted out, can you please do this for me? Blah, blah, blah. So it probably took her by surprise and she didn't want to do it. And so she gave me attitude. You know what I mean? And so I was like, I need to better prepare her for these things so that we don't get into this situation. So I admitted that to her. And then that opened the space for her to say that she was sorry. And we made up, you know, instead of continuing the fight for the rest of the night. So those are like my tasks these days, is like taking accountability right away to avoid conflict and try and let go of control. So there you go. There's my lessons for the week.
There you go. But let's be honest. When you're in your house and you're trying to get everybody everywhere and do all this stuff, and you take a peek at your house and see that chaos reflecting back at you, it can feel triggering. Like, I feel like walking into a really clean house and that everything is like tidy and put away is like not a mirror of how my life is right now. So
Mhm.
like if I walked into a spotless house, it would feel like so nice because I feel like it wouldn't reflect back what our lifestyle is right now, which is literally thing to thing to thing. It's nuts right now. On my house reflects that. So if
Mm.
I take a time to pause and I look around and I see, I mean, if I showed you my living room right now, they got their new uniforms and they just spread them all in the living room. They were going to organize, but something else
Yeah.
came up. The dog wanted to throw the ball. Oh, sorry. Yeah, excuse me. Let's go play and let's go do this over here and completely abandoned that. Right. It's all these half tests.
Mhm.
And I woke up this morning and I saw, and I was like, that is hilarious because that is something that I'm not picking up. I'm okay with it sitting here right now, just like I have to be okay with the fact that I don't have space in between one thing and the next to like sit and be. So I have to be okay with my house being a mess right now, or else I'm not going to be okay with myself and how I'm upholding this crazy schedule. During COVID and we were home, I was not having a messy house. We were cleaning, we were picking up after ourselves. And I go back and look at videos and I'm like, how in the did I keep that house clean like that? How is that even possible? Because I needed to have some sense of control because everything
Right.
was so out of control. And I
Yeah.
needed to feel, so looking at how that's changed from my own personal point of view is crazy to me. I don't know. I had this deep story about, we had mice in our house for a year and I thought it about killed me because I was like, pretty sure when we bought this house, there was a mice situation going on and the sellers did not disclose that, even though I found like a mousetrap in the closet. I'm like, what's up with that? They're like, nothing. So we were just, I feel like there's been stuff. And we had mice for like a year and they would not go away. I mean, I'm telling you, they were like hanging out, drinking drinks, partying, like they were having a blast. They would not leave. We had so many exterminators come in. We did everything. I did this crazy thing where I was like, this is deep. This is deep. Animals are going to show you what's what. This is a spiritual thing. I looked at what is the meaning of mice, infestation of mice. One of the things was like, you're holding on the need to control. You need to release control or you're about to get really rich. Mice represent abundance. I'm like, well, it's definitely not the second thing. So let's go back to the first thing. The second thing, I'm sure it's not that. So the first thing I was really worked on it for a year. This is crazy that I'm even thinking like this. I know it sounds a little nuts, but I worked really hard on it. And we got our stray dog who was like 2 feet off of the floor and they went away. Now I would like to say that it was probably, I finally figured out how to release a little bit of control. It's also probably the fact that the stray dog is lower to the floor and probably scared them all away. So God bless. Either way, it's a win-win. But like, I feel that there was something to that in realizing that, I don't know, maybe this interconnectedness makes sense. I was giving myself a chance to like look at something that I was, to your point, always trying to hold on to control because I was also raised scrappy. I love that about you. And I love that about me too. I think there's a lot of great character stuff in that. I really do. I'm kind of proud of it.
Creative Mamas Unplugged is produced by Breatheasy Productions with music by Jeremy Jurin. If you enjoyed this episode, please don't forget to give my mama 5 stars and keep coming back. Thanks to us kids, there are plenty of stories to tell. And you are not alone. Bye for now.